it was really complex. Like like I've said 50 times already, I feel like I just didn't understand it. I didn't think that that was a career path that I could even take. I don't think the work ethic was not instilled in me yet. It felt like a lot. Um, I loved it, and I also was not prepared for the road at all. And like Tony and Tom especially they were already touring musicians. They were workhorses. They knew what it would take to like get a record out there. And especially when you're at the beginning, you just have to play shows. And we were lucky enough to have tour support and have a record company that supported us. But we played hundreds of shows in, across North America, traveling in a 15-passenger van. And it was exhausting. And I was not ready for that. So, I mean, lots of fun, obviously really amazing and rewarding, and seeing a song, crack the top 10 alternative chart on Billboard was like, holy crap. Making videos, all that stuff. But I was profoundly tired. So there were some times where I think Tony and Tom, and I was younger than everybody else. So they were like, oh my God, I don't know if she can do it. I don't know if she's cut out for this. They were probably quite irritated with me at times.
For
Rightfully
our
so.
for our listeners that are not touring musicians, that do not understand that much about it, what were the challenges of being on the road so much?
Well, if you imagine, you're playing, say, for sure, we were doing at least 200 shows a year at that time. And so you are touring across, I mean, Canada's its own beast because the traveling
Especially in the
distances are
winter.
so far. But you're playing a show at night. So say you play, let's use California as an example, because I can like kind of, imagine the stops. So say you have a show in LA. You play, the show, you load out late at night. Sometimes you have to wait till everything is done to actually load out. And we didn't have a crew at that time. So you're loading out, everybody's loading out. Depending on the distance, you might want to get a little bit of a drive done. Like say you're playing San Francisco the next night. Okay. So maybe you drive a little bit and stop halfway. More likely is you sleep in a motel. You wake up the next morning, you do the drive, 5, 6, but sometimes it's 7, 8, 9, 10-hour drives. You load in the afternoon, do a sound check, find dinner somewhere. Maybe check into another motel, maybe get a shower, do another show. And it just is every day. And when you have days off, you're usually doing a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-hour drive. Their time is money, and so you don't have too many off days. So anyway, it's it was grueling. And once we got a tour bus, everything became much, much easier. That really changed everything. Because you had somebody driving you, and you'd wake up in the next town and you could have a day and some space. And then you're also like, it's like I'm in a van with all these smelly dudes. And you just like, it's super claustrophobic. You get tired of each other. But it's also one of those things that I can say I did. And I'm proud of myself for doing it. And for sure makes you tighter as a family.
And would the days kind of blur one into the next?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there are lots of notable shows, and we played everything from, I remember opening for They Might Be Giants at whatever the big park is in Atlanta, where they had the Olympic stuff. That was like 30,000 people. And then, also playing shows for like bar staff.
That's tough.
It runs the gamut.
And was it challenging vocally to play that many shows, knowing I can't even afford to get sick because that means a cancellation of a bunch of shows?
Yeah, it was. I would say I can really credit my classical training for being able to make it through tours. But being sick, yeah, you got to sing through a cold, and that was tough. We never missed a show. The closest we came to missing a show, and I really wanted to skip it, was I got myself completely sunburned in Florida. Sunburned and like heat stroke. And so I was like sick. And anyway, I ended up doing the show. I think we did about 6 songs. I was sitting on a stool because I was burnt to a crisp and I couldn't even wear shoes. So anyway, live and learn.